Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cheers to Careers. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm super pumped about today's topic. We are recording on, I am recording on annual reviews, and this is one of my favorite topics. I love a review in general. Probably it's the Enneagram 1 in me, but I love annual reviews. Obviously I get nervous for them. Everyone should get nervous for them. If you don't, I don't know, maybe you're the baby narcissist, but they're just an exciting time. As a boss, I love doing annual reviews. As someone who helps manage a company, I can understand how important they are. Someone who works in HR, I love having them and knowing that companies are doing them. And then as an employee who really busts her ass, I love being able to have her annual review. However, I know that a lot of people are very intimidated by them. They can get very uncomfortable and very nervous. And I'm here to give you some tips, tricks, information, whatever I can hopefully provide some insight to help you navigate these. Usually companies handle those at the beginning-ish of the year. And so that's why I think it's important to talk about this now. Hopefully things are slowing down for you at work and you have the ability to take some time to focus on this and prep for it so that you're not scrambling once a new year hits. Once a new year hits, it seems a little slow at first, but it will start picking up speed and then you will not have time to prepare. And I know how stressful that can be because I have done that before. So let's get into it. All right. I have a whole episode guide for you and I'm gonna do my best to stick to it. But I do have some topic / related notes that are my things that I want to make sure I hit. So before I dive into preparing for your annual review, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about what the focus and purpose is behind an annual review. As a company, it's super crucial that you have annual reviews with your employees. It's a great time for you to talk to the employees that aren't doing what they need to be doing, that need to increase their performance. Do you need to upskill them? Those types of things. And it's also really important as a company to make sure that you're giving employees this platform so that you can talk to them about their concerns, their future, where they want to progress to, how they've been doing, discuss the fun topic of how much money they're making, those types of fun things. But not only that, it gives you a chance to really connect with your employees and help understand what they're seeing. They're the eyes and the ears of your company. And it's a really good time for you to have that one-on-one time with them. Obviously, if you're at the very top, you're usually not the one having those meetings. Could be HR, it could be supervisors, those types of things. But if you own a business and you're not doing annual reviews, and honestly biannual reviews, which is every 6 months, you should for sure be doing those. Okay, so the purpose of the annual review is really to make sure that employees are getting a time to discuss how they have performed, where they would like to go with their career, things that they could do better, want to do better, things that they're seeing that are causing problems so that they can't reach their goals. And then obviously to talk about money because everyone wants to be making more money. And yeah, so that's kind of the point of an annual review. What I think is crucial is no matter what person you are in that annual review, you're the boss or you're the person having the annual review, the employee, it is super crucial that you're preparing for the review. You know exactly what you're going into, you have a flow, you have a form that you want them to fill out, you yourself know what you plan to talk to for your employees, those types of things. Otherwise it's just a waste of fucking time, honestly. I for sure have had those types of annual reviews where there was no structure, there was no feedback, there was no purpose. It was just yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie. Anyways, so always make sure that no matter what side you're on, you're preparing for those. If you are a company, make sure that you have something in place where you have these set up, that you have a process in place so employees know what to expect. And then also as a company, you need to make sure that you're prepared to have the conversation about increases in income. So if you're going to be giving raises, what does that look like for your bottom line? How much wiggle room do you guys have? How many increases can you be giving? Those types of things. Super crucial. You can't just be tossing out fucking money. You're not Oprah. So make sure you know how much you can move the needle and be prepared to have those hard conversations with people. And honestly, being upfront is one of the best things you can do. However, don't be saying we can't afford it, it's not in the budget, and then be like doing dumb shit with your money, because your employees will see that and it will not go well for you. So as an employee, I think it's super crucial that you make sure you prepare, but I also think it's a great time for you to reflect on your performance. And then also it gives you a chance to really, I don't know, reflect on your performance, but also reflect on your company and where you want to go with your career. Like, it's a really good time to stop and be like, okay, here's how my year went. Here's the things I accomplished. Do I like my job? Do I want to keep working here? Am I made for more? Like, so many questions. As an employee too, I think it's super, super, super important that you know what your company's policy is for raises and reviews. So my new company, we only give raises once a year. It is only during that time of year unless there's been a promotion. So if I start in May, I can't be asking for a raise in August. I have to wait until it's been that time. I have to wait until we get to that review period. Some companies have it different, where you can basically go into your boss at any time and be like, hey, I want to chat, I want to raise. And they'll usually be like, oh, okay, let's talk about it. And then they'll push you away and have you come back in like a few months after you've like done what they've asked you to do. And then some companies do it once a year or twice a year. It just really depends. But as an employee, it's really crucial that you know what that process is and that you know what you're going into. So like I was saying, if there's not a structure, things like that. So understand, like, is there a form that they're filling out? Is there something that you need to be filling out? So ask those questions. If you know that you're going to have an annual review, ask your supervisor, what should I prepare for? What do you need me to do? And if they say nothing, that's a fucking lie. If they say nothing, you better come prepared with something. They're either testing you or they really don't give a shit. So honestly, I'd much rather show up and be like, oh, you're not prepared, but I am, because that's how badass I am. So if they tell you nothing, it's all fine, that's a lie. You should be prepared with what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you want to do, what areas you can improve on, or what areas your department can improve on. You should know your market research on how much you should be getting paid, all those things. So never take that as an answer. And also, if they don't have a policy around annual reviews, like they're like, oh, we don't really do those, then you yourself need to make sure that you're having that on the schedule with your boss. So then be like, oh, that's interesting. I would like to set up something every 6 months where you and I are checking in, or maybe even once a year. Can we plan on like January? Can we plan on December? Like, most companies want to have these conversations at the beginning of the year, because at the end of the year, they're not really having the conversation of, they're really wrapping stuff up. So they're not over here trying to increase their payroll costs. They're over here trying to clean everything up, get things finished, so that when it gets to January, February, and March, they can have those conversations. So try to schedule it around then, but do your part if they don't have something where you're making sure it gets scheduled, because you have to look out for your own baby boo. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking so fast. I will try to calm down, but I get really amped. Also, I've been up since 2:30-ish, and it's been a long day, and we're recording very late. It's almost 9, which is basically my bedtime. So this is my life right now, and I have a terrible work-life balance, and we'll have a Cheers to Careers episode about that here soon. Okay, again, I still have a whole structure, but another note I want to make sure I mention is know who you're meeting for. So this kind of goes into part of the prep, which is our segment, but again, I'm all over the map. I've been up since 2:30. Give me a break. But know who you're meeting with. So is it your boss? Is it your boss and the department head? Is it just the department head? Is it the fucking CEO? Like, who are you meeting with? You need to understand who that person is or persons, and make sure you understand their personalities. It's really, really crucial to understand who they are as a person, how they negotiate, how they have conversations. Are they a total dick in meetings like this? Are they just like, don't care? This is like, they have terrible leadership and management skills. Those are really, really helpful things for you to understand. Also, I'd like to note, an annual review is not only for you to evaluate your performance, it's a great time for you to provide feedback to your manager, to your company, discuss your position overall, discuss your future there, discuss the future of your department. Are you happy? What are your goals? How can you progress? Those types of things are really, really important for you to evaluate during this time. Before you go into it, I would also probably ask though, like, or you could probably ask at the beginning. We'll get into this later. Never mind. Stopping. Okay, I'll mention that later. One other thing. Nope, okay, I'm getting into the structure. My notes deal with the structure. I'm getting on task. It's gonna be fine. Okay. First part of annual reviews that I want to talk about is preparing for your annual review. So I think one of the biggest things that you need to pay attention to is understanding the process, which again, already talked about, but figure out what the significance of the annual review is to your company, and then use that and leverage that to really break down what you want out of your career. This is your chance to really step up to the plate and have these conversations that you don't get the chance to have all year long. The next thing I would say is it's almost more crucial that you make sure that you have fucking notes. If you do not have notes going into your annual review, you already failed. So one of the huge things that I always make sure that I do is I have a list of things that I accomplished for that year. So projects that were huge that I closed. I don't know. I don't even know right now. I can't give you good examples. This is the problem with recording this late and having this long of a day. Basically projects that you've closed, things that you've done, any new tasks that you added to your roles and responsibilities. I do a lot with hiring and training. So training employees is a huge thing. What processes did you improve? What new things did you implement for your teams? What costs did you save the company? Things like that are super, super important. So make sure that you are keeping track throughout the year if you can. I can assure you that I have tried to do this every single year for probably the last 7 years. And I always fucking fail. So if you can do that, kudos to you. Please share all your tips and tricks with me so I can share them with our listeners. But I've tried different spreadsheets. I've tried different like task or project management things to help me track like what accomplishments I have had, so that by the time this gets to my plate again at the end of the year to prepare for this, I'm not racking my fucking brain. But when I tell you that I fail every year, I fail every year. Tried it again at my new job, still fucking failed. So if you have the ability to track it over the year, that's going to save your ass so much. But yeah, keep track of the things that you have accomplished. And then one thing I would add to that too is I have a hard time doing this for myself. I have a hard time acknowledging the things that I've done. I'm just like, this is part of my job. So like, look at my job responsibilities, my job description, and I did that and I fucking exceeded it. That's not going to get you far in an annual review. So if you're anything like me and you're just like, yeah, I did my job and I crushed it, that's not going to work. One thing that I do is I will talk to a peer. Basically that's someone that kind of works on the same level as you. They're the same reporting line as you. I will talk to them about it and be like, dude, I'm having the hardest time coming up with things that I've accomplished. Can you please, like, you have seen me like working. Is there anything that you can think of? Use them to help you brainstorm. Another thing, talk to your supervisor before you go into it. There's nothing wrong with being like, I want to prepare for this. Is there anything off the top of your head that I can use in my notes that like are projects that you know I accomplished, because like my brain is just not there? There's nothing wrong with that. Another thing too, you can also like go up a level to other departments. You don't have to do your supervisor, but you could go, if you have anyone that you're close with in a different department, ask them, be like, hey, I'm preparing for this. Any insight you can share with me that maybe I've helped your department, maybe that you've noticed, that would be really helpful. Don't be shy doing that. And then also anything that you can have as like a backup proving that you did something. So sometimes it's really easy in meetings like this to be like, yeah, I totally did this and I totally did that. And then your supervisor doesn't fully remember these things. And they're like, what are you talking about? Any details, any additional things that you can have to like back you up to help remind them will go very far for you. Also, my alarm's about to go off, so I will try to catch it before you guys hear it. The next thing I would say with preparing for your annual review is you really have to reflect a lot on yourself. You have to give yourself a true self-evaluation. You need to write these things down. So like I said, if you don't have like a form that your company uses to prepare for these things, you can look on the internet. There's so many forms. I've done this a million times. Like just search like annual review form and fill it out for yourself. Microsoft Word, in their templates, you could do review form, and there's like a couple that come up. Look at the one you like, find the structure you like, just look at questions and go for it. And fill that out for yourself. Like have that self-evaluation, have that self-reflection, and be truly honest with yourself. Like, is there areas for you to improve? Absolutely, everyone can improve. And are there areas where you crushed it? Yeah, give yourself those ratings. So fill that out for yourself, give yourself that true self-evaluation, identify your strengths, areas that you can improve, what goals you have, and really lay out your annual review. 90% of the time, you won't get into all of these things when you have your review. However, having this information and preparing for it and reviewing it multiple times before you go into your review will give you that confidence and that support to just speak freely and not be like, oh, I have notes. So when I was looking at this, okay, wait, let me find that note. No, you don't want to be that person. But going through, writing it out, typing it out, reviewing it multiple times, you'll remember a lot of this information when you go into it, and then have it printed as a backup or on your laptop as a backup. So if you do draw a blank, you can quickly glance and look at it. What else would I say with preparing? I feel like I kind of already started telling you how to prepare for it without going into like, this is what we're going to talk about first. So let me see if I have anything else on my notes. One thing I would say too is if you know somebody that is like friends with your person, or someone else that reports to this person, or someone that used to report to this person and they've had reviews, or they know how this person negotiates, figure out their personality, figure out what they like, what they don't like in meetings like this. Ask these questions with random people around you, and you'd be surprised how many people give you really good tips on how to have these conversations, especially when it comes to understanding how raises and negotiations there go. In my last job, there were for sure times where I knew the CEO, he doesn't fucking deal with this type of stuff. Like, he has a number and he is one of the hardest people to negotiate with, and it can end really badly if you try and negotiate with someone who's made up their mind. So if you know that about somebody, figure out ways to get around that, or have someone go to bat for you. Like, I had a supervisor that I was like, listen, I'm not in a place where I can go with him and have him make me feel like shit because he already underpays me. So can you please go to bat for me and try and like get me this dollar? And sometimes I got close, still fucking sucked. But anyways, okay. The next part, I would say the tough stuff. Asking for a raise. When do you ask for it? How do you know how much to ask for? All of these things. One thing that I would say is crucial is you need to understand what the market rate is for your position. And you also need to pay attention to what your company size is, what county you live in, what state you live in. All of those things are a factor for how much you should be getting paid at your job. So if you search your job and it says, oh my God, you should be making 200,000. Look and see what size company that is. Look and see what state that's saying. Like, go to legit websites, glassdoor.com. They have really good information that's pretty accurate for your market rates for positions. They'll break down like tasks, years of experience doing it, those types of things, and it's super, super helpful. But yeah, you really need to figure out what is the rate in your county, your state, for the size of your company, for how many years you've been doing it. All of these things are huge, huge factors. And then also one of the biggest things I would say is like, stop being scared to have conversations about how much you're getting paid. You have no idea how many times people that are working in the same department have no idea that the other people that are actually probably not even doing their job as good as them are making way more than them or less. And you sharing this information, which we should not be shying away from, this is like a taboo thing that we like had ingrained in us growing up, but that's not how it is anymore. Have the conversation, be like, yeah, I get paid this. If that offends somebody, that means they need to go ask for a raise. If it offends you, oh my gosh, do you guys see the thumb on my screen? Oh, creepy AI. I'm not doing a thumbs up anymore. I don't remember what I was saying. That was so freaky. Let me have a glass of wine. I don't remember what I was saying, but basically, oh, if it offends you, then you need to go ask for a raise. Like, if you realize that like you're doing much better than this person and you find out that they're making more money than you, yeah, go have that conversation. You 100% should. So stop having those be hush hush, stop pitting each other against each other, and just be open about these things. The next thing I would say with asking for a raise is you really need to figure out how you're going to build your case. And a lot of that comes into your self-evaluation and gathering your achievements that you accomplished for the year. So if you already have that information put together, that's huge leverage for building your case. If you took on new responsibilities, you added new people to your team, you did way more than you were supposed to be doing, or you're just doing the same things you're supposed to be doing. All of those go into your case. So if you are just doing the bare minimum of your position, asking for a raise is going to be a lot harder for you. You should always be trying to figure out how you can add more to your plate, because the more you add to your plate, the more experience you're going to get, the more opportunities you're going to get, and the more moolah you're getting, baby. So I would say, if you did your self-evaluation and you gathered your facts and you're like, hell yeah, I accomplished all these things, figure out what number you have in mind, what number works with the market research that you've looked into. If you have, like my company, we have percentage increases based off of performance. So if you were exceeding expectations, you have like a 3 to 5% raise. So some people have ranges like this. Some people, like my old company, it was like whatever the fuck that man wanted to pay you. And it was really, really annoying. So yeah, it really, really depends on your company, but figure out what the market rates are. And if your company doesn't want to pay market rates, that's a huge sign that you really should look somewhere else. Like I was underpaid for so many years, still making more than most people at the company, but heavily underpaid, and it really fucking sucks. So if you know that that's how your company is, and like, even though the market rate and what you're worth is not an option there, you know what you need to do, sis. Move the fuck on. Let's see. Yeah. Highlight your responsibilities, highlight the new things that you've done, highlight all of your achievements. Like, obviously you don't have time to go into all of them, but make sure you know that. Make sure you're ready to have those conversations. If you finished school, if you had new skills that you finished or acquired, like you learned new stuff, you helped out other departments, whatever, that's going to be crucial for you. When to ask for it. This is actually a question that someone asked me. I was gonna, hopefully if I have time, I'll do like a rapid fire of some of the questions you guys answered, which this already feels like rapid fire. Jesus, I need to slow the fuck down. Part of it is, I won't lie, I'm on our podcast Zoom account and it's the basic one, and I gotta fucking zip through it because I'm locked out of Taylor's and we haven't upgraded our podcast one yet. So baby girl only has like 40 minutes, 45. I'm not sure. We might get cut off. So yeah, I kind of have to be fast. Take a breath. Anyways, I don't remember what the fuck I was saying. I remember. Okay. Someone asked me, when in your annual review should you have the conversation? When do you bring it up? Very rarely should you do it first. There's been a few times where it's happened first for me. And most of that comes down to how you are as an employee. If you are crushing it, there's not a lot to talk about. You have rather regular conversations with your boss, those types of things. You'll probably just start with the money because that's really all you have to talk about. And then you'll kind of dive into more of the business strategy and things that you guys want to accomplish. And it's more of like a, how are we going to be better as a team rather than like, you need to be better. Let's talk about all the things that you think you did, blah, blah, blah. So very rarely will it be first, but it can happen. So be prepared for it to happen. Usually I lean on the person who is giving me the review. Like I read the room, I read who they are, I read how our conversation's going. If they want me to take the floor, I'll take the floor. I have no problem with that. But usually I'll just kind of walk in and be like, all right, where do you want to start? And then if they have any good skills, they'll usually start the conversation. The conversation in an annual review really should be mostly you talking, feedback, those types of things, responses, those would come from your manager. But for the most part, it's you really presenting yourself to them, highlighting yourself, really feeling yourself. But yeah, that's a big thing, is reading the room, reading how the flow is going. And if there reaches a point where you've like kind of hit the things that you needed to hit, that's usually when I will be like, all right, are you ready to talk about the stuff that no one ever wants to talk about? Or I'll like play into it a little bit lightly because that's more of my personality type. And I'm confident, like I'm like, we're gonna have this conversation, we're not skipping it. And that goes a long way. So I would say don't let them skip it. If they are controlling it and you're just kind of like responding to them and they're acting like it's over and you guys didn't talk about it, be like, oh, before we go, I still want to make sure that we talk about my pay and the potential for having a raise or bonus or whatever it is that you guys have. So don't let them skip it because some places will for sure try and do that to you. And then you have to go awkwardly back and like cry and be like, oh my God, what the fuck? So yeah, read the room, read how the conversation's going. If you want to play it lightly, play it lightly. Sometimes I have also approached it as, all right, now I'm ready to talk about my income and how much I'm getting paid and bonuses, whatever. So I usually try and take it as like a light place because it is a heavy conversation and it's not fun to have. So I would say when to have it, it really depends how the meeting's going. It really depends who's leading the conversation, and it really depends how your personality type is. If it makes you really uncomfortable, girl, you're just gonna have to push through. You're gonna have to get that girl's feeling in your throat where you feel like you just died and you have no feeling in your body. And you're gonna say, and now I'd like to talk about my pay and my possibility for a raise. And then you have to ask for a number, and it's very, very important that you have a number in mind. You can start high. I would never start low. Never. You can start high. You can start somewhere in the middle where you feel like, yes, I could get this, but don't shortchange yourself. Start high and negotiate. And if you don't have to settle on a number at that time too. I think it's super, super crucial that you know that. You can say, I'd like to take some time to think about this. Can we schedule a follow-up, like 30-minute meeting in 2 days? And if they say no, again, leave the fucking place. So yeah, take some time to think about it. Don't immediately agree to these numbers. Take some time to be like, if it gets heated, oh boy, I've had some of those. If it gets heated, you got to walk away and be like, we're not going to agree on this right now. I think it'd be best if we take some time to like calm ourselves down and have a follow-up meeting to discuss this. That's 100% acceptable. Do not get into a heated exchange with anybody about these types of things. And if it can't be a mature conversation, again, don't fucking work there. Okay. Next thing, just kind of goes into basically the raise and the income part. And basically I want to talk about like handling the tricky negotiations and rebuttals from your supervisor. One thing I would say is you should always anticipate them giving you some feedback, good or bad, and be ready to have conversations about that. Don't take personal offense. This is a huge, huge time for you to show your professional maturity. You can have a conversation around it, but do not take it personal. Have an open conversation that's calm. Ask questions, be like, oh my God, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. In the future, it'd be really helpful for me if we address this in the moment so I don't make those mistakes over and over again. That's super important. A lot of supervisors wait way too long to have that conversation. If they blindside you in a review, fuck them. And you should push it back on them in the future when this happens. Can you please highlight this and bring it to my attention so I don't continue to make that mistake and be blindsided in my review, motherfucker. I would say too, like, there's so much information on the internet. You could find so much on the internet that would help you with having conversations and responding to tricky things that they're going to say, negotiating your salary. There's like whole dialogues that you can look at and be like, oh, I kind of like how they said that. How can I implement that? And again, it is crucial that you stay calm and professional and know how to receive information, receive rebuttals, receive good and bad feedback. If they give you compliments, which God, I'm so terrible at this, you need to accept them. Be like, thanks. I've been working really hard at that. I'm happy that you noticed that, which makes me want to barf saying that, but it's important. And if you are the person who's leading these, make sure you give good and bad feedback. Make sure you're noticing the good things they do and make sure you're highlighting things that you know you need them to improve. If you improve on, if you ignore these things, it just gets worse from there. Please, that's an HR nightmare and no one's happy. So just like give them that feedback. It's not scary. It's not hard. Everyone should be giving each other feedback. Let's see. Let me look at my notes. Wow, I'm getting heated and like sweaty. This is a good one with rebuttals and negotiations and those types of things. Figure out a way that you can meet in the middle. Figure out a way that you guys can help each other. At the end of the day, you work together. You're supposed to be a team. If your supervisor doesn't have your back, you either know that you're not doing your job and they actually don't fucking want you there, or there's a bigger problem and they suck as a manager, or none of this matters to them. Like, it comes down to that. Like, you're either great, you're working as a team, you're figuring this out as a team, you have stuff to improve on, but they still love you, or they don't give a fuck about you and they want you to go. So pay attention to how that's going. What else would I say? I don't know. Like I said, at the end of the day, you are a team. Your manager should want you to succeed. Your manager should want you to have as much money as possible, regardless of them wanting to make sure they're looking out for the company. They also have an obligation to look out for you. So figure out what you can do, figure out how you can do more. What goals can you have so that you can get the number you want? If they aren't going to give you the number you want or the bonus you want or whatever it is that you're negotiating, at that point, ask them, say, what is it going to take for me to get this dollar? What tasks do I need to increase on? What skills do I need to improve on? Is it just that this is the cap for my department or my position and I need to look into other positions? Like, are there other areas that I can move into within the company? All of those things are totally on the table to have that conversation. If they have a cap on you and your position, that's 100% a sign to be like, all right, what's my next move? What departments would I thrive in? What departments are open that can make more money? I would always tell my admins, like, I have a cap on your money. Like, I have a cap on how much you will make in this position. And if you want to move past that, you need to pick a lane, pick which department you want to move into, pick if it's a different company, because I can only pay you X amount. That's my cap. Some departments have a cap, some positions have a cap, and be aware of that and have that conversation with your supervisor. If they aren't open and honest about that, and you ask them and they're like, oh, that's not a thing, I would run. It's easy to say, I know, because I again was there for 10 years. I get it. Let's see. But yeah, again, rebuttals and negotiations shouldn't be too terrible. Like, be prepared. If you prepared and you planned out the conversations, even though it's not going the way that you plan it in your head, if you prepared, this will still go well, and you'll be able to negotiate, you'll be able to stay calm, you'll be able to figure out a solution, and you'll be able to figure out what you need to do to get what you're trying to get. And again, you are dedicating so much of your time to this company. If they aren't willing to meet in the middle and have a win-win, and they're just like, bottom line, no, evaluate. Do you think you're doing better than you actually are? Is this the company for you? Do they give a fuck about you? Like, there's so many questions you can ask yourself at that point if they aren't trying to have a win-win with you. Win-win with you. That's a fucking sentence. Okay. The last thing I want to say with this is it's crucial that you identify your future goals in these meetings. Figure out what it is that you guys, as a team, as a department, want to accomplish for the year. What is your supervisor expecting of you for the next year? What do they want you to focus on? There's always going to be room for improvement. So if they don't give you feedback on that and you have to provide your own, which, like, hello, that's me. No one ever gives me that. I have to be like, well, I'd like to improve on this. What do you think? And they'll be like, oh yeah, that would actually be great. Always have something that you're going to be searching for. Always have a target. Always have goals. If they're not setting them for you, be like, if they didn't come prepared to have that conversation, ask them for a follow-up meeting where you're going to talk about it. But you need to go into the new year knowing what you need to do and want to do, so that when you get to this spot again the next year, you have all of this stuff. If you go through another year where you didn't really do anything, again, what are you doing? Do you like your job? Do you want to work? Do you just want a paycheck? Because, like, you could be a stripper. Anyways, let's see. I kind of feel like that's where I want to leave it, because I feel like I'm talking in circles. I probably am not, but I'm talking very fast. I'm at 36 minutes. I don't actually know when this goes off. I don't know if it ends at 40 minutes or 45. So I'm going to make the tough call, and I'm going to do my asking for a friend, and I'm going to record some rapid fires. Oh, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to record rapid fires for these. Maybe I'll just answer them on our stories for you guys. I have some good questions. So let me brainstorm on that. I was not prepared for this. And I promise by the next time I record for Cheers to Careers, I will not have a time limit because I'm locked out of an account. I will fucking pay the money, or I will get into our account. I'm very, very sorry. I want to answer this really quick. One of the rapid fires was, how do I handle feedback, especially if it's constructive criticism? If you cannot handle constructive criticism, you need to do some self-development and professional development. Like, if you are unable to approach feedback with openness and willingness to learn, and that you appreciate someone addressing these concerns, there's a bigger fucking problem with you. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's a fact. Let's see if there's another one I can answer. What if my supervisor doesn't acknowledge my progress or achievements? I would highlight it. I'd be like, so you haven't really mentioned anything about what I've accomplished. I would like to hear your feedback. I'd like to know how you feel about my performance. I'd like to know how you think I'm doing as an employee. That's really important for me to understand and to be aware of. So can you share that with me and push back on these people? I'm telling you, so many people like just brush over annual reviews, and employees let them, like, fucking push back on them. Ask them for information. Ask them the hard questions. I fucking love doing that. Ask them these hard questions and prove to them that you know your shit. Prove to them that you are here for business and you're here to crush it, and you need them to level the fuck up. If they came unprepared, that's on them. Let's see. Okay, I have 1 minute. Let's see if I can answer this asking for a friend. But shoot, now I have to find, okay. Hashtag asking for a friend. How do you figure out your strengths without feeling conceited? Listen, bitch, strengths do make you conceited. They don't actually. It doesn't make you conceited to know what you're good at. If you feel insecure about that, again, that's one of those things where it's like, you shouldn't feel insecure about the good things and the things that you're strong at. I'm really strong at a lot of things, and I'm really terrible at a lot of things. Like, I have a pretty cold demeanor. I'm not open to people very much. Like, that's a weakness of mine. And so lean into what those things are. Don't let that make you seem conceited. If you're good at your job and you're good at certain things and you're good at clients and you're good at schmoozing your boss and getting the things that you want, like, that's okay. That you're not conceited. If you feel conceited about it, you need to talk to your friend. Me. Yeah, I think that that's probably it for now. Hopefully I didn't get cut off because I have no idea if I'm allowed to go over 40 minutes at this point, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you got cut off, I'll figure out how to add to the end. Maybe it's a voiceover. I don't really know. Maybe you won't get video with it. I don't really know. I'm new to this thing. I'm going to figure these things out. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will do some answers to the other questions some way. I'm not sure how I will yet. Maybe it's post, maybe it's story. But I hope you have, oh my gosh, it's not Christmas yet. We still have another one coming. I hope you have a good week, and I will talk to you next time we talk about your motherfucking careers, because I love this shit. Have a good night, everybody, or day, because I forget. It's just me having a night. Bye.